Our whole goal here is to put into context what happens on a working dairy farm, send people back home to the cities with a positive impression of how animals are raised and the environment is cared for.
Dan Wegmueller is the owner and operator of the Wegmueller Dairy Farm in Monroe, Wisconsin. Through 4 generations, the dairy operations at Wegmueller have gone largely unchanged, but the dairy industry has changed around it.
It was purchased about 100 years ago during a sheriff's auction. Previous owners were losing it to bankruptcy during the Great Depression, so my great-grandfather purchased it. It's been in the family ever since. When I was growing up, we were considered a large dairy. We run about 350 acres and we milk about 50 to 60 registered brown Swiss dairy cows with some Holsteins and some Jerseys thrown in. We're shipping about 10 gallons of milk per cow per day. On a 50 cow dairy, that translates to about 2,500 pounds of milk every day. And that's shipped to a cheese factory in northern Illinois. So all of our milk goes to cheese production. It's the dairy state, America's dairy land. We're just at the threshold of 1 million pounds of milk per year.
My favorite part is milking the cows. People call me crazy because I like to milk them. But I walk behind the cows and I know all their names, I know all their numbers. It feels really personal here and intimate with the cows. So.
Callie Schaefer is the dairy herd manager at Wegmueller. She says while it's always been a dream of hers to work on a dairy farm, she understands the challenges that keep some of her peers from going down the same path.
My lifelong dream was to milk cows, but as a young person, that was not necessarily the most rational thing that I could have done. It's really hard to get your foot in the door, really hard to buy land, equipment, and livestock in general, let alone put up facilities to milk them. So this place kind of seemed like a dream the first couple times I showed up. I have the experience on many different farms. I used to relief milk for farmers that wanted to go on vacation. I'd go and run their farms for a while they were there. And that was always their biggest issue, was finding people to come in and even just want to work, let alone take over the industry. Not a lot of people want to do it. Everybody wants to talk about doing it, but not a lot of people are making the money moves to get in and actually have a part of it.
Now, this model of farming has been totally replaced by a more centralized, much more industrialized model of farming. Average size dairy farm in Wisconsin now is over 200 cows. So at a 50 head herd, we're definitely an outlier. I think, for one operator, a 50 to 60 head herd is very sufficient. And there's kind of a rule of thumb, if you're not making it economically on 50 cows, you're not gonna make it on 500 cows.
For Wegmueller, keeping operations economically viable has been expanding into different opportunities.
We were literally facing bankruptcy. We were about to become another statistic in a pretty sad chapter in Wisconsin agricultural history. So we branched into agritourism with the idea of reaching our consumer base directly. Every farm stay includes a complimentary tour. They have the chance to tour the dairy facilities, watch milking take place. We have the chance to hand milk a cow, bottle feed baby calves, meet the pigs, and then that also includes an introduction to our equine operation. And we also lead a 4.5 mile guided trail ride around the property where we talk about land conservation, crop production, and wildlife preservation. What we found is that 100% of our interactions in the last 6 years have been positive. When we take the opportunity to take food production and animal management and put it into the context of what happens in the human world, that's all the context you need. It's been a very unique opportunity, but I think one that's needed right now. So what we've learned here in the last 6 years is absolutely applicable on a much larger scale. And of course, that's our next step.